Hello, hello, everybody. Excited to be here today on our first hangout that we're having that is targeting women or parents who want to either homeschool their kids or they're thinking about it, or ones that already are in this mode, in this lifestyle, and they're looking for tips, tricks, ideas, inspiration, whatever the case may be. We're here for you, and we hope to share some great things. There's also a comment section at the bottom of this page, so if you have any questions, comments, if you'd like us to go over anything in particular, if we don't, between the five of us, we have a new addition. So between the five of us, someone will probably know the answer, and if not, we will find it out because we're that kind of resource network. We have the internet at our tips, so we'll find out for you. So definitely, if you have comments, questions, and ideas that you'd like us to do, we'd be happy to cover that for you. And this week, because it is our first week, the best way to jump right in is for you to get to know each one of us and a little bit about our family lifestyles, our choices of how we choose to educate our family children. We'll just jump right in and do some intros. And I'll just go from, on my screen, I know everybody's, I think, turns out a little different, but Lena, you are first. So you're up, girlfriend.
Oh, who, me? Oh, I'm up? Well, hello, everybody. My name is Zabalina Vargas, and I live in New Jersey, and I am the proud mother of 3 beautiful children. I've got a 16-year-old, I've got a 14-year-old, and I've got a, is she 10? I think she's 10. Yeah, she's got a 10-year-old. Yeah, and so, we are, I guess you can say, like, relaxed homeschoolers. Really, we don't, oh, and that's my bird, Sunny, and he's a 3-year-old, so, like, yeah, so, and he's loud. So, but yeah, we are unschoolers / homeschoolers, I guess you could call us. We just tend to go with the flow of whatever it is that the kids want to learn. We've been doing this now, venturing into the homeschooling now for about, I would say about 5 years now, and it has been one of the best decisions that we have ever made in our entire lives. So that's pretty much, kind of like sums it up what we're all about, and it's nice to be here. It's nice to have you guys here, and I'm so excited for this new series of videos that we're doing, and I'm excited to getting to know all of you guys.
Awesome. So Lena, as far as like curriculums or what do you do to keep your kids motivated, or what do you do to educate them?
What do we do to educate them? Well, really, it's to me, it's more so personal development, really, like teaching them how to be self-sufficient and really kind of like cultivating their self-esteem and whatnot. We started off with a books in a box type of curriculum. We tried Bob Jones University. I think we've even tried Abeka. We've tried an online curriculum, which was Time for Learning. That's the first one that we tried. It was a little scary at first because, I mean, obviously we wanted to homeschool, but we didn't really know exactly how to start. So we just started off with Time for Learning, and then from there we went on to books, and then from there I bought My Father's World curriculum, which I really ended up liking. And you know what? It just, as time went on, the children just started to evolve, and I started to see different types of learning styles, and from there I got to know who my child was, because it's really not even about the curriculums, it's about who your child is and how they learn. So that's what we ended up finding out, and to me that was actually a blessing. So once we figured that out, we started to actually pursue what they were interested in. It was very difficult to try to make them, sit down and really get their book work done. So I said, okay, we threw out the books, and I said, we're just going to do what it is that you feel that you like to do. And from there, that's what we started to do. And it's just been so peaceful, and they've been learning. I mean, every day is there's something that they're learning here in this house. You know, there's so much more to it. And it sounds a little scary, but that's why I say, you know, we're kind of like unschoolers slash homeschoolers. Two of them, they don't pick up the traditional textbooks, but one of them does. She really enjoys it, and so she does it, and that's, you know, it's all good. So that's pretty much what we do around here, Kimberly.
That's awesome. That's great. All right. Well, next up we have Miss Carol Willis, who is a last-minute join-in that I'm so excited to have here with us today. And we had a last-minute day time change, and so she's able to be with us. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and her family and how they choose to educate at their house.
Thanks so much. I'm so glad that you guys formed this group. It's such a great idea. My husband Carl and I both are internet marketers. We stay home and work from home, and pretty much just set our own schedules. So it made it really easy for us when we were kind of facing a crossroads of, do we homeschool, do we not? We have 3 kids. We have a 23-year-old who is in the Navy, so he's out of the nest, gone. He graduated from public school, went to public school his entire career. And then we have a 16-year-old who is a sophomore, and when we were making the decision about homeschooling, we let him be a big part of the decision, and he chose to go to public school. So he's in public school, high school, loving it, involved, has great friends, and that was perfect for him. And then our daughter, who is 12, and she's a 6th grader, when we recently moved, well, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, moved to Wichita, Kansas, and in that move, we had been praying about what we needed to do with school for the kids when we moved and things, and so that's when we began to make the decisions, and she wanted to try homeschooling, and so we had really wanted to try it too. So it was just perfect timing for us, and we did a lot of looking and a lot of searching, and we took a little bit different route. We are going the basically online charter school route. We have a public school here in our area that is just a wonderful school district. And so we started looking at their program and decided that that was the best fit for us. So she works off of her laptop. Now that she's in middle school, it's pretty much self-paced. I'm right there with her to answer questions. Math, we work on step-by-step together because that's the area that she needs the most help in. And then we go to the school once a week. She spends about 6 hours with other middle schoolers in a classroom. They're each doing their own work at their own pace, but we have teachers that are there to help the kids and to kind of guide them in what they're doing. So for us, it was the best of both worlds. It gives her, she's my social bug, so that gives her the social activities. We have field trips. Friday, we're going to one of the children's museums for the day. They have all kinds of activities, and we've involved her in some other activities. She loves to bake and decorate cakes, so we've got her taking a cake decorating class. She's in the 2nd class of that. So it's really given us the flexibility for me not to have to prepare lesson plans, which I think I would not be very good at getting done, but also to be really involved in her education at the same time, and just to be able to spend some good quality time with her. And it's allowed us my husband Carl takes each of the kids out on dad dates every week, so she's the one that gets to go out in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day with dad, and go to lunch or go to breakfast. So it's just really given us a lot of flexibility. She goes, my mother-in-law lives 2 blocks away, so she goes in the middle of the afternoon to walk dogs with grandma or just spend time with her. So it's really, we're just seeing a lot of freedom on all ends. Freedom that I'm super involved with her schoolwork, but yet I'm not the one that's giving the grades and all of that. We've got somebody to do that, but yet I'm there to help encourage her and guide her in what she's learning at the same time. So that's been our experience so far. I know that we'll at least continue it through middle school. I'm hoping we'll go with this path through high school, but we'll take that as it comes and see what happens then.
Awesome, awesome, Carol. Yeah, I'll share my experiences with that too, because that's the direction that we have gone with all of our education. But I'm here to learn and grow from these other moms because I'm thinking of being brave. So one person that's really helped me want to be more brave with what I do is Miss Greta Campanello. And I'm excited for you to hear about her life and her story, and just be aware that she is a homeschool mom and her kids are home right now. So, I mean, all our kids are home. So this is our life. So we're going to have kids and birds and dogs and everything running in and out. So Greta, with that, let's hear about your family.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, I just love sitting here and listening to all of you guys talk about everything. It's so cool to hear all these different stories and all these different ways of how you're doing it at home. And by the way, I'm Greta Campanello, as Kimberly said, and I'm actually breastfeeding right now as well, so I'm a little distracted, and my kids have been running like crazy, as you could probably see in and out of the camera here. So, yeah, it's been as you have heard from all these other women that have spoken already, it is quite a journey. Just figuring out what is going to work best for you and your family, and also when you have more kids, as time goes on, you realize that they're all so different. They all learn in different ways, as Lena was talking about, and so you have to really adapt. I mean, it's in life itself. Like, life is ever changing, and we always have to find new ways of adapting to the changes that occur each and every day. So, so I've had a journey myself as well with the whole homeschooling. I always knew, even before I had kids, that was the route that I was going to take. I wasn't going to take on the traditional education system. I knew that was an option, and that I was going to homeschool in whatever way that was going to be. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to be that way. I was going to be a stay-at-home mom and be here for my kids. And yeah, so basically, my one sort of thing that I knew I needed to provide for my kids outside of the home was the socialization. Now that I have 6 kids at home, I don't have to think about that as much, because they're all different, and they all socialize with each other all the time, and there's many different things, problems and things that occur. And one of, I guess, my main focus for what I do, because I would say I'm an unschooler, is learning through play, and learning through experience, and learning through socialization with each other, and learning to problem solve on their own. I'm hands-on, but I'm very hands-off as well. I really, we have a 3-acre property, so a lot of time is spent outdoors. And because I have a baby, I'm not out there. I've got laundry to do, and cooking and cleaning and all that stuff that all us moms have to do. So I have to focus on that, and the baby, and the younger ones, and the older ones are outside. I really encourage that, and they love it too, and climbing trees, and and when a problem occurs, they've really learned how to take care of each other. And it's really interesting when we go out in public, people make comments, like, even if we don't have especially if we don't have all of them, they say things like, you guys must have more kids, or that you must come from a large family, especially people who have come from large families, because they see the way that the kids interact with each other, and the way that they really know how to respond to different situations and help each other when there's help is needed. So it's just about learning to survive in life in general, just simple sort of basics in life, and they have a joy for learning, and most of it is learning through play. Thank you, River. Thank you. Sorry. And yeah, so learning through experiencing things out in the world, getting out. Sorry, it might get loud now.
No worries.
But they're working through a problem right now. Problem solving. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself.
Well, thank you, Greta, because it's so important. Really, I really see that that joy of. I see, in some of the things that we've done in the past and stuff, where they kind of lose that joy, and so I love what you're saying, and I definitely want to hear more about how we can help our kids, really play and learn at the same time, and really make it fun for them again, because I think that's so important. And I know that Katie White does a great job of that. She has a whole set of perspectives, because she's actually, Greta's in another country. She's in Canada, but Katie's joining us from across the globe. So she's actually, I'll let her tell her story. But I'm really excited that she can join us, because it's really great to get perspectives from around the globe. So Katie, I'll let you share your story.
Well, hi, I'm Katie Spencer White, and I am sitting in the wilds of Scotland right now, despite my accent. I'm an expat and married to an Englishman, and we are currently road schooling across Great Britain. Like Greta mentioned, X took that Borns. And at the beginning of January, we packed up our house and hit the road, and we've been out here now, I think, for 7 weeks, just going progressively further north through Great Britain. We're now in Scotland. We're going to make a big loop from the west coast and then hook around back down the east coast, back down into England. And it's incredible, because the kids, we have 4 kids at home. I have 5 kids in total. I have an almost 23-year-old as well. He's back in the States. He's pursuing his dream of becoming a musician. And then we have 4 kids at home. We have 2 little guys who are going to celebrate a 2nd birthday on Saturday, and we have a 3-year-old. And so we do a lot of that learning through play and just letting them get on with experiencing life and mud and talking and reading. And then we have 2 school-age kids, an almost 11-year-old. So I think she would be in year 6 here in the UK, but she would be in 5th grade back in the States. And we have a 13-year-old who would be in the 8th grade in the States and in year 9 here in the UK. We came to home education. In the UK, we call it home education. My only experience of homeschooling is in the UK, because back in the States, I was a teacher. I was fully invested in the system. I was a public school, high school history teacher. I loved my job when I was in the States. I believe passionately in the role of public education as a change agent, a positive change agent. And then we came to the UK, and the educational system is similar but different. And our eldest son went through the public education system both here and in the U.S. And finished school and never enjoyed it, and went off to become a musician. And then our other 2 kids were going through a very nice little English village school, and then we had a health crisis, and one of our kids' needs was just not being met, and we got a lot of lip service from the school. And I think anybody who's ever had a special needs child or a child with additional needs might resonate with you. The school, talks a lot of talk, but they don't really walk the walk. And so we finally decided, we made the decision that we were going to be better off on our own than we were going to be in a system that clearly was not going to be able to meet the needs of our kids. And so one child came out first, and then a couple of years later, the second child came out of school. So we've been home educating now for a couple of years, I think 3 years, maybe 4, I can't remember. I'll lose track of time. Because I come from a teaching background, I jumped in feet first with my lesson plans, and I'm going to buy this curriculum, and we're going to do that, and that just went absolutely nowhere. We've gone through Saxon Math and Khan Academy and Singapore Math, and I did loads of research and bought all kinds of junk, and the kids don't care at all. So we're probably right now, I would say we're eclectic homeschoolers in that we don't follow a particular curriculum. Particularly now that we're on the road, we're definitely unschooling. I have a number of unschooling friends down in England, and as we were packing up and getting ready to go on the road, one of them sat me down and said, "You're not you," because I was going to pack the math textbooks, and we're in one car with a roof box, and I was going to I had like these giant bags full of schooling materials, and she's like, "No. You're going to be going to all these historical places, you're going to be going to museums and castles and seeing the great outdoors, and you're going to be going places that your kids are going to remember for the rest of their lives. You do not need to bring any of that stuff. Leave it at home." So we have, and it's worked out really, really well. And like a lot of the ladies have said, the more kids you have, you really do realize how different they all are in their approach to learning. And so one of the things that we have found with our kids is that when left to their own devices, some kids go crazy with it. One of my kids studies Latin, his idea. Another one studies Spanish and is an expert on Greek mythology. It's amazing the kinds of interests that they develop. And so right now we're just having the best time exploring the ecology and biology and natural beauty of Great Britain and seeing as many things as we can see. And hopefully when my kids are older, if they ever choose to go back to school or go to college, university, and somebody's talking about a castle or a battle or some historical event, my kids will have a picture in their head of a place or what that looks like. And instead of learning things out of a book right now, we've had huge discussions about things like peninsulas, because we're on a huge peninsula in Scotland. They're learning geography not by a textbook, but by actually being out in the world. So that's where we are right now, and that's how we're doing it for the minute.
That is amazing, Katie, and that's so inspirational, especially I know because I've had conversations with Lena before too, and that's actually a goal that both her and I have, is to pack our family up in an RV and go out too, and we're just going to travel, and we're going to show them history and eventually do foreign, I'd love to go to Greece even, because they do have my kids have an interest in Greek mythology and different stuff. So I'd love to take them there, and we'll, we talk about things. They're like, "Can we go there?" Like, yep, let's get it up on the dream board and let's make it happen. So I appreciate that so much, and it just makes me so inspired to want to just really break out on my own even more. Because, yeah, our experience, I have 4 kids, and just like some of the other moms have said, is, I knew I was homeschooled from before I ever even had children. My husband and I lived in Washington State, and when we first got married, and there were a lot of families there that were homeschooling families, and we saw the benefits of it, and at that point I knew that's what I was going to do. But I didn't know what curriculum, and being the chicken that I was, I did opt to start out with virtual academies because I didn't think I could do curriculums on my own. I didn't think that I wanted to make sure there was structure, that there was somebody holding me accountable to, and also to make sure they were on the right track, make sure they're learning what they need to learn when they need to learn it. And we started with K-12, and through our state at first it was Idaho, then they have it in Arizona as well, where we are now. And we loved the curriculum. It's a great curriculum. It's a rigorous curriculum. So when this last year, and I really blame Common Core. I'm not a fan, but they really started requiring a lot more busy work. And I really have not liked the fact that they were everything, and even in the one that we're in now, it's all about we need them to learn this for the AIMS test. And if you're watching this later, the state tests are going to change to PARCC testing here in the United States. So it's all about we need them to learn this for this test. We want them to learn this for this test. And they're really, I can see my kids, especially in my oldest daughter, who has been in honor roll in her virtual academy since the time she was in kindergarten. And she, has always done, excelled in school. And over spring break, I guess I have spring break on the mind now, but over Christmas break we switched from K-12 to Connections Academy. And, there's good and bad to both. I'll say that. Honestly, there is. And they have a good curriculum also. I like things about their curriculum. But again, it's about the test. It's all about the state test. It's not about the student. It's about passing that state test. And it's really frustrating to me because I see them lose their love of learning. And they're being forced to learn things that may not I don't want to get into political things here on the Hangout, but
we'll save that one for another Hangout, eh?
There you go. But it may not really be beneficial to them in their future. And I really am thinking of being brave and just branching out. They're struggling in the new academy, not because that it's hard or that they can't do it. They just don't want to. And we're struggling to complete things and to get things done on time, or they're rushing through things. And I just have to add this: it's not totally true, but it's just a funny little thing I saw on Facebook the other day that said, the day we stopped needing public education is the day YouTube came out.
That is so true. That is my favorite resource.
Yeah. So, and we do, even for a lot of the experiments that they want the kids to do, we hop on YouTube and do watch experiments that other people have done, because ours tend to not work out like they say they should. So it's more beneficial to them to see someone else do that, and that is definitely a huge resource that we use is YouTube and Google. I don't think I could have taught a lot of well, my husband does most of the math. He's my math teacher for the kids, but when if he's not available and I'm trying to help them, I couldn't have made it through without Google. So Google is another great resource, and like Katie mentioned, Khan Academy. So I'm curious, what other resources do you use in your schooling? Katie, do you have other resources that are your go-to resources?
Yeah, YouTube and Khan Academy, first two that spring to mind, just because with math, if I need to learn how to, divide fractions, which I can't remember from my own elementary school days, I can just go watch Khan Academy video. It's called, teachers do this too. We used to call it just-in-time teaching, where you teach yourself the material 5 minutes before you walk into the classroom. So I'm not ashamed to say I do just-in-time teaching when it comes to math. But one of my other favorite resources is a book by a mother-daughter homeschooling duo. It's called The Well-Trained Mind, and it's a guide to classical home education. And it's by, the author's names are Weiss and Weiss, W-I-S-E times 2. And even if you're not into classical home education, and if you're new to the whole homeschooling thing, there's different categories of homeschooling. There's people who go to online academies. That's one branch of homeschooling. There's people who do school at home, like I used to do, with box curriculums that they follow. And then there's this another kind of homeschooling called, you can do Waldorf at home, you can do Montessori at home, and there's this thing called classical home education, which basically says kids should study Latin and learn how to read early. And I don't necessarily follow all that, but this book, it's about this fat. Can you see that? And it's really, if you never buy another book on homeschooling, these women have packed so many resources into this book. And it goes all the way from the early years all the way through college preparation up to through high school. And they actually go through all the curriculums, everything that everybody's already mentioned that they've used. They talk about how those fit into the different age groups. They talk about, what kinds of things you can expect your child to be doing, different ways of organizing materials. And it's a really good cherry-picking resource. So YouTube, Khan Academy, and The Well-Trained Mind by Weiss and Weiss are my 3 favorite home education resources.
That's awesome. Thanks, Katie. Greta, are you able to have a minute to share some of your resources with us?
Yeah, well, I can totally agree with Google and YouTube and all that, because we use that as well. And I just love when it comes to mind, when it pops into their head, or they ask me a question and I don't know a lot of the answers to their questions that come up, questions about certain animals or whatever, anything that just pops into their head. They can just go to the computer, or we can go to the computer together and just pop it in the search engine, and boom, there you go. We can watch a video on it, or find the answers to those questions that come up. Whereas, when I was a kid, it wasn't as easy to do that. We used to have encyclopedias, which I absolutely loved, and would just sit there and just flip through them and find things to learn. That's the thing about education and learning, is that kids they're hungry for it. They're hungry for it, and they may not even realize it, because my daughter just said, "Yeah, I'm hungry." I think that because they're not. Sometimes they get confused because their friends, friends that go to the traditional school, go to public school, they sit there, they're sitting there at a desk, and, that's their perception. That's learning. They have to be sitting at a desk, and there has to be a teacher, in order for them to be learning. They actually, and I think that even adults kind of see it like that unless you go to school, and in the public school, you're not learning. You're not really learning. And so, as far as resources and things, Khan Academy, again, we do use Khan Academy as well. And the kids, for me, it's a great tool. I love it. I love the program, and the kids love it too. And they have other little things that they like to do on the computer, little games that they like to play and such, but nothing really that comes to mind. It's more just Google and YouTube and stuff like that. When things come to mind, then that's where we go, or we go to the library as well. And I love to take my little ones to the library and really just experience the whole books, and not so much all online. It's like having something tangible, having those books to flip through and learn from as well. So.
Awesome, Greta. I love your comments, and it makes me think of Henry Ford, because people would tell him, well, you're not very smart, and he'd say, well, I don't remember the full story right offhand, but it was something about the fact that he called a group of men into reporters and things, and he said, you can ask me anything you want, and I will find the answer. I'll figure out the answer. I start asking him questions, and he picks up the phone, and he calls his advisors, and they give him the answers he's looking for. Well, we have that luxury today with YouTube and Google, because we have that. And I know my growing up, he used to always say, I hate when teachers have you memorize dates, because if you can look something up, you shouldn't have to memorize it. So I was like, oh, Grandpa, I love you, but the teachers still made me memorize dates. Yeah,
see, I'm an ex-history teacher, and I never made people memorize dates. I like a nice ballpark. Get the decade right.
Right.
So you know, like the context, but dates, memorize it. You either have that facility or you don't. So
Right.
yeah, I don't agree with memorizing dates either.
That's awesome, Katie. I like the comment too about getting the right decade, because you see those little Jay Leno things he used to do where he'd interview people and they would, say that Columbus came in the something in that.
Yeah, ballpark it.
Ballpark it. All right, so back on track now. Carol, do you have resources that you use in educating your daughter, or different things that you've used?
We just basically, we go to YouTube a lot, we go to Google, and we've got really good curriculum that directs us to other resources within the curriculum. So we are just pretty much using what's there. But when we were trying to figure out, it was funny, somebody mentioned, Katie, I think you mentioned dividing fractions by fractions or something.
Yeah.
And I had totally forgotten how to do that, so I went to Google, and for some reason, I wasn't clicking with the way her curriculum was teaching it. So, I went to Google and I figured it out, and we learned it from there. So we use the resources within our curriculum, as well as a lot of YouTube and Google too.
That's awesome. Thanks, Carol. All right, Lena, do you have anything else to add that's different than anything we've already mentioned?
Well, you know what? What I would like to add to that is what you realize is, what you come to notice is that your children do become self-sufficient. Like you've got a 5-year-old who is curious about something, and you just, it's about directing your children. So as they grow older, they do become independent. Eventually, not eventually, I see 5-6-year-olds, that they talk about these topics, and you're just like, how do you know that? It is true. We do have the internet at our disposal, and it is such a blessing. People curse the internet, but let me tell you, the internet has been a blessing to all of us, because not only can we use it as a resource to educate our children, but we use it to work from home. Mm-hmm. So it's an amazing, amazing blessing and resource that we've been using. And, when you're older, what do you do when you're curious? You figure it out, when you've got a 30-year-old who asks you a question, and then you're like, go figure it out, and then they're like, oh, I don't know. That's what you kind of want to avoid with your children. So I think that's a huge benefit to being able to be at home with your kids, and they're just amazing. They're just amazing, these children. I'm baffled. I'm dumbfounded. I wish I had these resources when I was this age. I think I would have probably been on a totally different level. I think we're raising a generation of geniuses, if you ask me. You've got 2- and 3-year-olds on a tablet, and they literally know how to, how to open it, how to play on it. I'm astounded by it. So it is a blessing.
I think you're so right, Lena. The whole idea of kids constructing knowledge, and what they can do, what they can construct if they're just left to their own devices, and if we just trust them. We don't send our 1- and 2-year-olds to school to learn how to talk. We just trust that they will acquire that skill, and we're there to help guide them. And they manage to do it. The vast majority of them manage to do it. So yeah, the whole idea of constructing knowledge and letting kids just do what they're going to do, and being there to guide them and shepherd them and not constrict them, but really, I call myself a Sherpa. If you look at my Facebook page, I'm the lead Sherpa, because I can show them the path, but I can't walk the mountain for them. That's for them. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, I really believe here that we're raising a generation of leaders here, people who think for themselves, and they're go-getters in essence, So I'm excited about the future. People tend to look at the negative, but I think that we've been given so much more than what we used to have in the past. And again, like I said, I'm amazed at 2- and 3-year-olds what they're capable of doing with all the technology that you put in their hands.
Right, definitely. Well, that leads us, we were going to talk a little bit about, people who inspired us in personal development, but I think we're going to save that for another time because I think that's going to be a whole discussion in and of itself. But I want to jump over to something that Lena mentioned just a few minutes ago that's really important, and another reason why we're doing this hangout here today. And that is the fact that we are all moms who work from home, and we blog at home, and we incorporate that in what we're doing. And I'm just going to give an example here real quick. We just recently, we've been in a course that's done by one of my mentors, and I started my daughter in that course. Now, this is another reason of me wanting to separate from the general curriculum because she really wants to do what we're doing, and the schoolwork's interfering. But the stuff that we're doing is educational. It's learning. It's teaching. And she's 11 years old and is building Facebook fan pages. So, she's learning about statistics and analytics, and she's learning about, money and marketing and business and how to run a business. And she's learning these things from these top-notch online marketers and mentors. And to me, that's the education, and she's interested in that, so that's where I would like her to focus. Many reasons. But I know that for us, and we blog through a platform that is phenomenal, that is allows us to have this time to homeschool, and be able to, we're blessed because both my husband and I are able to be here for our kids and education process with them. And Carol, I think you mentioned that as well. You're both entrepreneurs and you both homeschool. So would you like to share a little bit more about your experience with Empower Network?
Yeah, it's, we've got both of our kids learning. Our 16-year-old is learning how to blog, and we've set him up with his own website connected to our Empower website. And then my daughter's taken over my Instagram for me because she picked it up in one weekend when she got a tablet and already almost instantly knew more about doing it than I did. So, we're definitely involving our kids in our business, and for us, it's about teaching them how to be self-sufficient, how to be entrepreneurs so that they're not dependent on corporate America for their job. If that's what they choose to do, that is perfectly fine. With us, we support them in whatever they choose, but we also want them to know that there's another way. And so that's how we've used our experience with Empower, is to really take the things that we're learning and teach them on their level, teach our kids the same things that the mindset training, we're working on that with both of them right now. The mindset training, the personal development that we get through Empower Network, it's just amazing. And so we're we are translating that to our kids. And, we've seen big changes in both of them since we've really been concentrating on really empowering them to really be able to make their own choices in life. And so that's I think the biggest thing, the biggest advantage that we've seen to being entrepreneurs, working from home, setting our own schedules, not even entrepreneurs in a brick and mortar business, because I think when you get into the brick and mortar businesses as an entrepreneur, you're still tied to the business and tied to a building. And this way we're not. We just take our laptops with us and go, and we're learning and working all at the same time. So that's one of the biggest things that we value through our experience with Empower Network.
That's awesome, Carol. And I so agree, because I had a brick and mortar business when my husband and I first got married. And my plan, we had cell phone stores on the I-5 corridor in Washington State. And my plan was, when we had kids, I was going to have them, teach them to be quiet and nice and sit in the corner and they worked in the store. First baby came along and I realized that was not so that's not their idea of fun. So, definitely, this is a much better choice in our family. Would you like to share a little bit more about how you incorporate business and blogging into
Yeah, sure, definitely. You know, one of the reasons why we chose Empower Network, you know, for our business was because of the blogging. You know, we needed a business. Well, because of the fact that we unschool, we wanted to, or we don't want to. We're going to buy an RV, you know, and just take off with the kids. And we needed a way to generate an income on the road. So, you know, we tried a few little businesses here and there, and just the compensation plan, although the freedom was there, you know, and yeah, you do have the potential to eventually make a lot of money, but you have to sign up a lot of people and go to a whole lot of hotel meetings and stuff like that. So being that I have the kids and, you know, we have extracurricular activities, and my husband had already had a job he was working 80 hours a week, it was very difficult to keep up with this little business that we said that it was going to take us out on the road. So we started to look online and see how we can work from home and whatnot, and that's where we found the Empower Network. So I said, well, you know what, this can actually work out for us because, number one, it's a business where you blog, so it's perfect. Like, we'll be out on the road, we'll be talking about, you know, our lifestyle, taking pictures, videos, and just incorporating that into our blogs. We have a lot to say. Everybody has a lot to say, you know. You never run out of things to say. So, you know, you can inspire people. You're working from home. You've got the children. You know, also, the personal development and the culture in Empower Network, what we've been learning has been phenomenal. So obviously that seeps into your children. They recommend that you read certain books. They have inner circle audios where you're constantly always feeding yourself these positive, powerful messages so that you can continue on with your entrepreneurship and really stay focused. So when you're constantly feeding yourself these things, you know, you tell your children, you teach your children. So our kids know their confidence level is so high up there when it comes to what it is that they want to do in life that they're not really worried about, oh, you know, what if and what if and what if. They really they believe that they can accomplish whatever it is that they have in their minds and whatever it is that they want to do. So, you know, not to mention that the Business Empower Network is 100% commission. So that just made complete sense to me. I said, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to go for. And it's just been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we've been able to meet you guys. We've been able to meet so many other hundreds of thousands of people that are on the same mindset as we are and who have had success in the business. So it's been amazing. It has really kind of just been almost like, I would say, just the seal on our entire lifestyle, the unschooling, the choice to live a freedom lifestyle. In its entirety, it's just been one beautiful picture. It's been a blessing, and we're having fun. We're having a wonderful time.
That's awesome. And I know, especially when we play, you know, we'll play the Inner Circle audios, or we'll download certain calls, you know, 15K formula and stuff, and we'll play it in the car. Sometimes to the kids' objection because they would prefer music, but we do. And you think they act like they're not listening. They'll be playing on games or tablets or coloring, and you'll think they're not listening, and then all of a sudden, you know, later in the week, or they'll say something that came from that call. So they are listening and they are paying attention. I know that our mentors and leaders that we listen to on a regular basis, they're household names in our house. You know, our children act like they know these people, even though, you know, and they'll say to us, "I really want to meet them, Mom." I'm like, "You will. You'll meet them." So definitely, it becomes part of your life. It really does, and it uplifts and motivates not only yourself, but your whole entire family. Wouldn't you agree? Well, we'll go to Kate. Well, Greta, are you? I keep watching you to see if you're available to talk.
I'm good. I can talk for the moment. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just getting all excited just to hear everybody talk about how amazing and how much of an impact being a part of the Empower Network community has been for all of you, because I can completely relate to everything that you're saying. I just keep nodding, like listening and nodding, because all of your experiences have been all of my own and all of my kids' own experiences, and just hearing, just hearing the things that come out of their mouths, the positive attitude, that they have, the outlooks that they have on life, because of the audios that I listen to, because of the calls that I'm on. And just last night, in fact, I was on a webinar and listening, and all of a sudden I look over and my 12-year-old is sitting there just, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. Is this a part of the Empower Network? I'm like, yeah. And it's just, they just get so excited. It's just like Lena was saying, it's like that seal on top, it has brought like a new life to my life. My life was not what it is today. I am happier. I'm healthier in my mind, most importantly. I get through obstacles like a lot quicker. I have a lot better recovery time. It's not like, for me, it's so much more than business. It's so much more than money. It's the enrichment that I have, and also the relationships. My relationships with the most important people in my life, in particular my mother and my sister, would not be where they are today without me being a part of this community. I can honestly say that for sure, because it's made all the difference in the world, and my mom makes note of that, and she sees that, and she loves it, and she loves seeing that, and it's amazing. It's just I better go. But I love it. I'm so happy. I'm excited.
That's awesome. I love the insights that you shared with us. It does. It really uplifts and motivates and makes you happy. And I know, I took my oldest daughter to an event that we had in Denver last. I lose track. I'm turning into Justin and David. I don't know where I am when I'm but we went to Denver sometime last year, and I took my oldest daughter, and it's amazing. She met so many wonderful people, and then the next event I didn't take her, and she was staying with some family, and people kept asking, "Where's your daughter? Where's your daughter?" And she kept saying, "Did you see this person? And did you see that person?" And then she's like, "Man, I wish I could have gone." And then my other daughter's like, "You got to take me next." So they do. They want to be a part of this life. They want to be a part of. They feel that energy, that atmosphere, and they want to be consumed by it also. Wouldn't you agree, Katie? Oh.
Oh, I mute myself so you can't hear my chaos, because it's crazy at Greta's house around here. Yeah, I would agree, Kimberly. For us, it's been an incredible journey. My husband's been on it longer than I have. He had the vision a lot earlier than I did, but I excuse myself by having had 2 little boys in the space of 15 months. I was on another cloud on another planet.
You're excused.
It's getting better now. For me, it was, sometimes things come into your life just at the right moment, just when you need them. I was always a career person. I've had careers in teaching and in law, and then it became abundantly clear to us that kind of lifestyle, although it works for a lot of people, it was not going to work for us, and we had this health crisis, and we just made a flip. And so it's been a very long journey from moving from being that very structured lifestyle to being a live life by design on your own terms lifestyle. And it's great to be able to share that with the kids. I mean, we live with our kids. We're with them all day, every day right now as we're road schooling, road tripping across Britain. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing for anybody who's had that kind of crisis in your life. You know, there are blessings out there. You just have to grab that golden ring when you pass by.
That's awesome. Thanks, Katie. Thanks for being, sometimes people they're a little afraid to admit their weaknesses, or they're a little afraid to admit that, I think as humans, we want everyone to think that, and women and moms especially, we want everyone to think we have it all together, and we never have a bad day. We're always on top of our game, but the reality is that we're not, and we do have struggles, we do have crises, and so I appreciate you, Katie, for letting, for keeping it real and letting people know that, we do go through situations and we do go through life changes. We all do that. And, if you're looking for, we're at the top of the hour, or the bottom of the hour, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't want to take up too much of your time, but we want you to know that there is a way that you can homeschool, have the time freedom, have the financial freedom to be able to do what you want, to live your dreams. If it's road schooling or, RVing across the country, whatever your dreams are, you can accomplish them. And we have the secret, if you will, the education, the resources that you need to take that journey, that step with us. And so somewhere on this page, down below, well, it's down below, it's not somewhere, down below on the page, there's a link where you can join us and get started, and we'd be happy to work with you. We'd be happy to share these resources and tools that we have, not only for education, but also, for business and working from home. Because if you're trying to work a job out in, a regular 9-to-5 type job, or even, I know parents that work graveyard shifts and then try to educate their children, and it's just, frankly, it's really, and I'm not saying that it can't be done, because I know people who do it, but there's a better way. There really is an easier way, and we'd be happy to share that with you. So click the link below, and we'll help you get started and get going on that journey for yourself. With that, make it a great day. Join us next Tuesday, and I think I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to work out next Tuesday, because I'll be coming to you from a Renaissance fair. So,
how exciting! How educational!
Right. So I'm going to be testing out how it works, either from a phone or finding a Wi-Fi hotspot nearby. So we'll see what happens next week. But definitely join us Tuesday, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And with that, make it a great week. If you have questions, contact one of the ladies on the panel, and we'll get your questions answered. Make a great day.
Bye.
Bye.